Well, welcome to the BNI Effect, the home of amazing conversations with Brisbane BNI members sharing tips on how to get the most out of your BNI membership. I'm Tony Meredith, and ordinarily I'm a business coach, but today I'm your host and fellow BNI member, bringing to you another amazing conversation with a BNI member. Today is episode number 35, and today's special guest is Danni Taylor. Danni, welcome.
Thank you, Tony. It's great to be here.
It's great to have you. Why don't we kick it off by you telling us a little bit about who you are and what your business is and what are the services or products that you provide?
Absolutely. Well, my business is called Find Your Spark, and I often get mistaken for an electrician, but no, that is definitely not me. I'm actually a netball performance coach and nutrition coach. So I was an elite netball player back in my heyday. So I'm a bit of an expert when it comes to how to become an elite sports person and teaching athletes the one percenters that they need in order to improve their sports performance. So I offer one-on-one individual sessions, small group coaching. I do specialist training in schools and for netball clubs. But most recently launched my Netball Academy, which is based currently out in Redlands in southeast of Brisbane. And the purpose there is to have a real impact on the skill development of netball players, particularly in my region, which is the Redlands coastal region. But yeah, obviously, in having that big impact on the sport. As a nutrition coach, it's all about empowering clients to develop healthy habits, and I incorporate a system of products and supplements called Isogenics in my coaching, and then I support them with that personalized coaching and accountability coaching towards their goals.
Good on you. And so, what ages are you coaching people, Danni?
Honestly, it starts from about 8. I do have a few adults that I coach, but they're mostly kids between the ages of 8 and 16. And then club teams, it can be juniors, seniors, but yeah, mostly that 8 to 16-year-olds.
Yeah, right. And how long have you been doing this for?
I've been coaching since I was about 13 or 14 myself, and it was my way of giving back to my local netball community, and it's really kept me in the sport throughout the years. And the nutrition coaching really kicked off for me after I had my own health transformation, and I just loved the results I got and wanted to help other people get those results too.
Good on you. And so, Find Your Spark, how long's that been running for?
So I put my business hat on in 2020, mid 2020. So yeah, 4 years or so.
Right. So, in the middle of COVID, you thought, right, let's go and start this netball coaching business.
Yeah, well, the netball coaching's really taken off since I've moved up here to Brisbane.
Yeah.
So really the last 2.5 years, I've put myself out as a netball coach. But yeah, the netball coaching has really taken over up here.
Good on you. And so, you said you were an elite netballer. So, who did you play for?
I played for both of the Melbourne teams down in the late 90s, early 2000s. So we had two teams, the Melbourne Phoenix and Kestrels, who eventually went on to become the Melbourne Vixens. So that tends to be the team that most people have heard about these days. And they actually play against the Queensland Firebirds. So now I'm up here watching the Firebirds play. And yeah, so of course, when the Vixens play the Firebirds, you know who I'm cheering for.
So, okay, so even though you're in Queensland, you're still cheering on the Vixens.
Absolutely, that's where the heart is.
Good on you, Danni. All right. Well, look, so in business now since 2000, as you said, so about 4 years, or a little over 4 years. How and when were you introduced to BNI?
Great question. So initially, I was in BNI for health and wellness products, which was the isogenic side of the business. And obviously, being a network marketing business, you are encouraged to tap into your family and friend network, which for me, I never felt super comfortable with pushing products onto people that perhaps didn't need it. So I was invited along by my business partner and was encouraged by actually Veronica Lee Zamato, who you would know quite well down in Melbourne. And she was launching an online chapter. And as soon as I saw the way it operates and that it was about people in the room who have their own network of people that have problems and they may need you, it was a bit of a no-brainer. So I immediately joined and was part of a launch chapter down on the Mornington Peninsula. It was an online chapter, which was a different experience to the face-to-face that I'm now in up here. But yeah, it was just that having people that had people in their network that had genuine problems, and I might be able to solve them.
Excellent. And so, how has being a part of a BNI chapter influenced your approach to networking?
Oh, well, I actually really get my energy from being around people. I love being around others. And so I guess I'd always, I guess, networked in that social capacity. And so since being part of a BNI, I've really become more targeted and purposeful in my connections. And so I think that that has really changed. I'm definitely a better listener. So when I am, hanging around in my, groups or down at netball or, just chatting with the mums, I'm really much, much better at listening to what the people are talking about. And then I naturally just start to try and problem solve. And who pops into my head? But my lovely business network grouping people. And so I think, it's a BNI term, becoming a master connector, but that certainly is what I feel like it has done for me to be part of a BNI.
And given that you're saying that you improved your listening skills, so how did BNI help you improve your ability to listen better?
Oh, look, being part of all of the training, obviously we embody lifelong learning as one of our core values. And so I I don't like to do things by halves. And so, yeah, it's been about really understanding how to become a better listener, um, listening for the key words that people are saying, and then trying to sort of connect the dots. And then, yeah, just having those weekly interactions with people, you're just learning more about them, gaining that credibility and that ability to feel confident in referring them.
And it's interesting you say that BNI, one of the values is around lifelong learning. So for those people who are thinking about joining up to BNI, it's not a case of, sign up and then that's it. Like there's this continuous learning and development process that BNI provides to help you become a better listener, become a better networker, and ultimately maximize your BNI membership.
100%. And the opportunities that you do get through BNI and when you do fully immerse yourself in it, it's just phenomenal because you're learning not only about how to become better in your own business, you're learning how to connect yourself to higher level referral partners, not just get your individual referrals, but you're also learning and growing individually and personally as well. And I think that that's probably one of the, I guess, hidden elements of a BNI membership is that you kind of come in expecting your business to grow and you don't expect that the confidence will increase and your ability to talk to people and the way that you present yourself and your 60 or your 30-second elevator pitch improves. All these extras that you don't really anticipate are going to be the benefits.
And it's interesting you say that because we're episode number 35, and I would think that the majority of people that I've spoken to doing this podcast series have all said the same. I came into BNI for the commercial reality, but then along the way, I got all of these personal growth, personal development opportunities that I hadn't anticipated. But I'm absolutely delighted that I found it and lent in and learnt some of those skills.
Mm. Yeah, and
Excellent.
moving into state too has been a phenomenal shift in my community as well. It was actually imperative um, to me settling in here, being able to walk into a group of business people who had no idea who I was, and they actually wanted to learn about me and my business and what I had to offer. And a lot of those people have become friends, yourself included.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you, not thank you, Danny. Appreciate that. How do you measure the success of your participation in BNI?
Well, I pride myself on being a 100-point member. So I changed chapters about 8 months ago. So there was a little lull there in that sort of changeover, but pretty much every single month I'm at 100 points. So there's no compromise for me on attendance. I am there every single week. And if I'm not there, then I will 100% have a sub. I do at least one-to-one every week. The CEUs are easy. I do a lot of driving. So I just put the podcasts on and listen to a lot of them. Referrals, I think, firstly about who I can use personally, who my small network, like my family, my next door neighbours can use. And then, you're just on the listen out for people and Facebook friends who might be posting for things. And our chapter's actually really good at putting on visitor days quite regularly. So that gives us an opportunity to really invite a lot of people in at once. But I also use my feature presentation as an opportunity to get lots of visitors in the room. So yeah, being, 100-point member for me, and, being new to Brisbane too, it was a case of really establishing that network quite quickly. But now, 2.5 years in, I've got people that come up to me and they're like, "Oh, Danni, you must know a XYZ." And that's pretty mind-blowing to me because, I consider myself only having been here for quite a short time. But yeah, the change in categories for me was probably a big success story. So, being in health and wellness products for a long time and then only just recently shifting to netball performance coach as my category, I've actually found that my isogenics business has taken off, and I attribute that to the fact that I've built that trust, I've built that credibility, and it's not about pushing what I do. It's like the accelerator's off now, and so for me, it's that building of relationships. It's huge.
Excellent. Yeah, and like you said, the fact that you're out there pushing your netball coaching, but in order to be an outstanding elite netball player, then nutrition has to be a part of that regime. So it's that you've got both sides of your business covered.
Indeed.
Excellent. Um, how has your business evolved since joining BNI, and what role has networking played in that growth?
Well, I guess I've touched on it a little. Obviously, switching categories,
Mm.
and they're quite different categories. Like, there's some electricians that might go from commercial to residential, but my category shift has been quite huge.
Mm.
And so, yeah, it's been a matter of, a few key people that helped with that. I was actually at the BNI National Conference in Cairns. I was rooming with Veronica. And we would chat at nights, and some of the things that sparked in conversations that we'd had were then amplified when one of the feature speakers spoke. So Cindy Kohler was a feature presenter, and she talked about having this can do, can happen attitude. And she asked a really big question, and it was, what do you want to create? And the guy sitting next to me was talking or writing down his vision for succession planning and being able to get out of his business. Where for me, I was sitting there writing down about this mind-blowing netball academy that I was going to be creating. And she just asked, what is the next scary step? So for me, it was then going back to my network and trying to connect the dots. And, there were a few people that have been instrumental in that. Emily Woodward in my chapter is a life coach, and she was kind of a bit of an accountability coach, keeping me on track to what that next scary step was. But, I've connected with an amazing bookkeeper, Tara, who's cross chapter, and an accountant who's now sort of got all my accounting and bookkeeping happening. I'm redesigning my website with the web designer from my chapter, Boyd. I've used my chapter printer and signage person for all of my new signs for the academy, so that when I've got that branding aspect. So I've just got all of these connections now, and it's really helped to just take this direction change in my business to the next level that it needed to go to. It's very exciting.
It's incredibly exciting. Congratulations. What advice would you give to new BNI members to make the most out of their membership, Danni?
I would say do more than the minimum. Do more. Go to your weekly meeting, but visit other chapters. Go to the social gatherings. Go to the regional events that are put on. Go to the trainings and conferences. Visit do one more than one-to-one. One-to-one. Target people cross-chapter that might be great connections for you, who can be your power teams, and meet with those people. There's so much learning that can be done, not only through listening to these podcasts, but also through the BNI Business Builder and the training events that the region puts on. Use the members' services and give them a personal referral so that then you've used them and then you can speak from genuine experience about your own experience with it, and then you become more credible in your referral ability. And then I think for visitors, that's often one that is the hardest thing for BNI members to get, but it's all about sharing how you can solve their problem and, highlighting what their thing might be. And it might be that they don't have a network of people, so they just want to connect with more people. Or it might be that they need to connect with lots of tradespeople, or they may need to come and meet a business coach and, just have a quick conversation before the meeting. So how can you solve their problem? And for me, it's been signing up for leadership. So I've been on the leadership team every single term, and obviously now part of the support and growth team for the Brisbane Central region, which is just an incredible opportunity to network even further.
So for someone who isn't aware of what it is that you're talking to, just explain, what you mentioned regarding the Brisbane Central team.
Being a support and growth director consultant is essentially that middle person between the executive leadership team on a chapter and the regional office. So you get to come in. I visit my chapters at least once a month, typically when they're having their chapter success meetings. But it's about supporting them, helping them to grow, giving support and guidance, never telling them what to do, because essentially the chapters are their own little entity, and they need to do what is right for them. But it's really about just supporting them to keep them on track with the system that has worked for 38 years. We don't need to reinvent the wheel when we do follow the system that it works. And so just keeping them on track.
Now, what's next for your business? What's that next scary step, Danni?
I love that. So the next step would be to fill the existing academy that I've got. So it's currently sort of sitting at 10 to 13 players. So I'd like to get each of my sessions up to 15 players. And once that's filled, then grow it to a second evening, and then duplicate that. So then be able to bring on board some coaches that I can train up, and they can then implement my programs, and I can have an even wider impact and grow it to other regions and really support the local netballers and hopefully create some future diamonds that sparkle.
Fantastic. I love it. How do you see your relationship with BNI evolving as your business grows, Danni?
I think once my business kind of goes to that next level, I'm really going to be leaning on those sort of people that are going to support that growth. So be it the life coach who's going to help me grow personally, the business coach that's going to help, with that business development side, someone who can help to get me on track with some systems and get everything that's out of my head and onto paper so that it can become duplicatable. So I can foresee that whilst at the moment it might be just some business cards and some signage and a new website, that those things are going to be the stepping stones to a greater cause.
If you could share one piece of wisdom with our viewers or our listeners, regardless of if they're in BNI or not, what would that be, Danni?
Surround yourself with the right people. You want to be uplifted. You want to feel like you are in the right room with the right people. And I'm not just talking the BNI room, but you want to be challenged. You want to feel supported. You want to feel like people have got your back. And I think that as I've gotten older, I've learned that it's so important to have those support people around you. But I absolutely love my BNI chapter, and I feel entirely supported and connected to them. And, I try to expand that out into my network of friends and family as well.
Well, as the late Jim Rohn said, you're the average of your five closest people, and I take it a step further and say you're the average of your network. So, like you said, if you're looking for something more, then find different people. Find people like you said who can, challenge you, uplift you, support you. Be there when the chips are down, etc. But it's about the people that you hang around have a massive influence over the outcomes that you produce.
Success is contagious.
It is. Now, how can listeners learn more about your business and get in touch with you, Danny?
Well, of course, they can find me at my website, which is www.findyourspark.com.au. But I do spend a lot of time hanging out on Facebook. So my Facebook page is Find Your Spark Coaching, where you can find all information about my nutrition programs and netball coaching programs.
Amazing. Thanks, Danny. Well, that wraps up another episode of the BNI Effect. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode. And I want to give a massive shout out to Danni Taylor for sharing with us a little bit about her story and her BNI journey. If you found value in today's episode, then please subscribe where you find all amazing podcasts. And until next time, get out there, make the most of your networking, and thank you for listening.